Take 3. Okay, so hi. Today we are going to be talking about raising expectations in homeschool. Guys, it is late here. I'm sorry about the lighting. You can see the shadows being cast around me. It is because it is late here. Like, I normally do not film this late, but we are filming this late because everyone's basically asleep in my house right now. And because of that, I am filming out in the living room. If you can see my beautiful couch. And so we are going to talk about raising expectations in homeschool. All right, without further ado, let's jump into the Okay, hi, my name is Amanda from Learning to Level, and this is a channel all about biblical homeschool. It's all about homeschool from a biblical worldview. We talk about everything from sales to the practical to all of the mom attitudes to what we can do with our children, from field trips to resources. In fact, if you haven't seen my last week's video, if you are interested in any of the things that can go on sale, jump on that video because there is a lot of things on Black Friday that will go on sale, like expo markers, school supplies, those kinds of things on Amazon, STEM kits, all of those kind of things. KiwiCo, I think, is still having a sale with the coupon code JOY. So if you're looking for good STEM kits, Amazon has them. I'm just letting you guys know to give you a refresh, look out for them. And yeah, because sometimes Black Friday is a really great time to score deals for your homeschool and help your mom budget when it comes to homeschooling. Well, on to this video. Okay, so today we are going to talk about raising expectations. There was a video I did probably a few months ago, and it was talking about enjoying learning and enjoying homeschool. And I have often found that in life you have one of two ditches. And it's very funny because the Bible often guards us from falling in either ditch. This is safety for us, right? And often the truth that God wants us to walk through is right there on that middle ground. And one of the ditches that we can fall into in homeschool is either making everything so rugged and rigid and strict that we suck the joy out of learning, which learning is a gift. I don't want to be rigid. I don't want to suck the joy out of homeschool. I want my children to love learning. I do not want learning to become such a burden that the moment they graduate homeschool, they hate learning and they never want to pick up something else to learn. And so because of that, then you can fall into the other ditch. And the other ditch in homeschool is to make it the standards so relaxed that your kids do not have a leg up in the things that they will need a leg up in. So for example, this can look like not really caring about what you teach them or how well they perform in their studies or how well they perform in homemaking, how well they perform in doing chores. And you just kind of leave it to, oh, well, you know, hopefully they'll, one day pick up the initiative, and some kids might. However, we are called as parents to raise our children in training and instruction of the Lord. And if we are choosing to homeschool, that's no exception. So one of the really cool things that you find all throughout the book of Proverbs is diligence, hard work, gaining wisdom, seeking insight, gaining understanding. These are all things that we can do. And these principles do apply in homeschool. I think a lot of times because either we have this idea of, okay, let's just get through it, or let's just grin and bear it, just get through it, and it kind of sucks all the love of learning out, or you go to the opposite side where it's like, oh, let's only have fun. Let's only do what you want to do. Can prove to be also lacking beneficial benefits. And I'm going to make a case for it. So for example, I am going to put something out there and then I'm going to defend it. So here's some ways that we can raise the expectations. So one of the ways, and I have my notes over here because I will rabbit trail, so this kind of keeps me on point so this video doesn't go super long. So one of the first things that we can do is, so we can expect our children to not just do their homeschool, but to do it in a good attitude. Now, this is obviously something that we have to work on with our kids because let's face it, I don't think any of us go skip into the dishes or to clean the potties in our home. At the same time, like, we should be doing all of that to a joyful attitude. And honestly, us modeling that will help the situation. So if we're grumbling and complaining, then obviously that will kind of trickle down to our kids as well. But then even if we're not grumbling and complaining, it can still have that attitude within our home because we're all human and sometimes we don't want to do what we don't want to do. I want my kids to understand that learning is a gift. I was listening to one of my children today talk about how learning is a gift, because in the past we've talked about other cultures or other people who really do want to go learn, and they are walking miles to school. They are having to get up super early, get chores done, and if they're even able to go to school, because a lot of them don't have that privilege. So unfortunately, in a lot of those places, those children stay in poverty. They don't ever get an education. Some of them don't even become literate. And understanding that the opportunity to learn and grow is a really big benefit to our children, and it's a blessing from the Lord that we live in a place that we can become educated, that we can pick up our Bibles and read it, that we can do math and learn how to steward our finances and run spreadsheets and learn how to manage things and start businesses and learn laws and become a benefit to others around us and to ultimately serve the Lord with whatever purpose God has for us. Fostering having a good attitude fosters gratefulness within the home as well, because a lot of times, even when you don't feel like doing something, you can still be thankful that you get to do it. It's not necessarily a, oh, well, I have to do this, therefore I'm going to be grumpy. You can choose to say, okay, well, I have to do this and I'm going to choose to do it with a grateful attitude. And fostering that attitude within your home will be very beneficial for your kids when they grow up and get jobs, because no one likes a grumpy employee. Nobody likes going to work with someone who dreads their job, because that person normally isn't doing their job well. And so if you are looking at the benefit of your children, raising that expectation to, hey, you might not like math homework, but I do want to see you choose a good attitude during math homework. And if you need extra opportunities to do that, I can provide those for you. Or if you need help and you need to go talk to the Lord, go talk to Jesus. And then also explaining that all of these things that we're given is really a gift. And it's not really a right that anyone has. No, we have rights here in America to educate our children. In fact, it's mandated in law. But the fact that they get to have that education at home with their parents and enjoy a godly education with really great curriculum where they get to be with their siblings, they get to have the extra time to run out and play if they need to, that they get the opportunity to study the things that they're passionate about and that they want to learn about. All of those things are a gift, and having them understand that that is a gift for them can really help foster a different attitude while you're doing your homework, or while they're doing their homework with you. This actually reminds me of a scripture to do everything without grumbling or complaining. It's in Philippians. Yeah, it says, do everything without grumbling or complaining so that no one can criticize you. Live clean, innocent lives as children of God, shining light. So, I mean, like, it's just the idea of choosing to cultivate that cheerfulness and that gratitude that fosters a good attitude, that whatever you're working at, you need to do it with a good attitude. You need to show up, do your best, and do it unto the Lord. Okay, number 2, the second expectation is teach them to strive to do the best in all they can do. Now, I know that this is going to sound kind of normal, like, yeah, strive, like work to do your best at everything. Although as Christians, we have a different reason for it. Like, we strive to honor the Lord in all that we do. And because we honor the Lord, that is going to change the trajectory of why we are doing what we are doing. So, for example, Colossians 3:23 says, whatever you do, work heartily as for the Lord and not for man. Knowing that if you're showing up for math homework, language arts, whether you're showing up to clean the house, whether you're showing up to help your mom with something, whether you're showing up to help somebody else with something, show up like the Lord would want you to and not how man would want you to. This is important, because if you just allow and say, you know what, it's okay, we don't really care about this subject, you don't have to do it. And I don't care if you really get it done, just do it and then we'll mark it off. I don't really subscribe to that. Now, for example, if they've got like 20 diagramming sentences in a BECA, sometimes I'll let the kids pick half. And then they can do the half, and I don't need them to diagram 20 sentences. If they get it, they get it. But if they don't get it, we can give them more work to help them get it. My curriculums are meant to serve my children's education, not my children's education is meant to conform to everything the curriculum writes. If you've been around in this channel, you know that I have 2 language arts curriculums and I use them both. And so because of that, I'm not looking all the time for them to diagram a bunch of sentences. But what I am looking for is a good attitude, a good work ethic. I will not accept sloppy work. If they are doing things that looks like they didn't take the time to really do it, then they get the opportunity to redo it and to do it well. This may seem super harsh, and I understand that, but I want them to do tasks with excellence. And when I mean excellence, I mean to the standard that I know that they can do it. I want them to do it with the God-given gifts that the Lord has given them and to do it in a way that is actually putting forth effort. I do not think that them submitting work that has not actually been really tried on, like I don't accept work. And my kids know that if they come to me with sloppy work, it will probably get erased and they will probably have to redo it. That is a good thing because either they can choose to get it right and do it the first time with a good attitude, with a diligent work ethic, or they have the opportunity to try it again. And so that to me, even though it sounds like a harsh mom move, it's not. It's teaching the children that you get out what you put in and that you reap what you sow. And if you do not take the time to take care and to nourish your education and grow your educational needs, that you are going to have to redo it, or you are going to have to take a lesser opportunity, a lesser job, or something like that because of the fact that you did not want to strive for a more excellence to the standards that God has given you the ability to do. Because of that, I really feel like we've done our children a disservice. Even if they have a difficulty, even if they have a reading difficulty or a math difficulty or you name issue here. A lot of times we allow the labels to define what the kid is capable of, and that is just not where the line is supposed to be, right? We're not defined by our conditions. Now, they might end up making it a little bit harder to learn. You might have to get a little bit more creative, but ask the Lord. James 1:5, I'm telling you, pray, ask God for wisdom on how to approach whatever difficulty you're going through. It might mean that you've got to be a lot more diligent on how you do your reading skills, or it might mean that you need to do extra long division practice, or it might mean that you need to sit down with your mom or your child a little longer and work on those phonics sounds. It might mean having to switch a curriculum. It might mean getting outside help. It might mean doing extra reading practice or doing shorter bursts that involve outside activity. Whatever it is, not allowing whatever condition that they may be fighting with to be the ceiling of what your child can actually overcome. There are many people with difficulties and learning disabilities and things like that over the years that have gone through great lengths to strive past it. And that's what I'm looking for. No matter what child, no matter what inclination they have as far as have the ability for emotional intelligence or whatever, I'm going to build them up in every single area that God has given them. And also in the weak areas, I'm going to push them to strengthen themselves in that area, being prayerful and asking God for help and doing what I can on my part to help them to succeed in whatever they are currently struggling in. Another thing is, it is okay. So this would be expectation number 3. It is okay to expect them to do age-appropriate chores around the house. And for those moms who might have that little like, oh, yeah, but if I do that, then my kids are staying home to like help me with chores and I feel bad. I just want to help you. Asking your children to help around the house is actually for their benefit. And I know that is going to sound very strange because even though it helps out mom, it also actually helps out the child. So there's 2 studies that I want to talk to you about today. And normally I do like to bring in psychological research if I know of it and I can find it. And here are the 2 studies. I am actually going to link the links below so you can go check them out for yourself. But I am going to say, okay, so this is Tepper, Howell, and Bennett, and this is from 2022. And if you're unfamiliar, journal studies oftentimes are looked up by the author and the authors and the year. So I will put a link to that down below. And this is what the results said. Okay, so the results of the regressive model indicated that engagement in self-care, chores, etc., making self meals, and also family care chores, which was like making someone else a meal, significantly predicted working memory and inhibition after controlling for influence of age, gender, and presence of absence of a disability. For families with a pet, there is no significant relationship between engagement in pet care chores and executive function skills. So they were actually encouraging participation in chores, which is actually really good for their working memory. And then here is another one from White, DeBoer, and Scarf. I hope I'm saying that right. And this is from 2019. The results was the frequency of chores in kindergarten was positively associated with the child's perception of social, academic, and life satisfaction competencies in the 3rd grade, independent of sex, family, income, and parent education. Compared with children who regularly perform chores, children who rarely perform chores had greater odds of scoring in the bottom quintile of self-reported pre-social academic ability and peer relationship and satisfaction scores. Performing chores with any frequency in kindergarten was associated with improved math skills in the 3rd grade. So if you are one of those moms, you know what? That light actually I think helps. If you are one of those moms that you were like, I feel horrible about having my kids help around the house, I hope this gives you some freedom to understand that actually helping your children learn how to do these skills around the house is actually a positive for your children. And it's actually helping them just learn about how to be able to do things for themselves. I know for my kids, like, it gives them so much confidence that they know how to cook, that they know how to clean, that they know how to do all the things and run the household. And whenever I need them to step up, they are actually delighted to take on some of those tasks. And I think it's because it makes them feel like they're contributing to our family. They don't feel like they're unable to do anything. And it really does give them the ability to just be like, wow, I did that. And I actually feel pretty good about myself because I have the skills in order to take care of myself and others. So if you are one of those moms that are just like, well, I can't, I feel guilty. I feel like I'm allowing my children to just stay home and help, work alongside them, do your mom chores while they're doing their chores. And you will find that, 1, the flow of your household goes way easier during homeschool time. And 2, it teaches your kids so much confidence that when they get out of high school and they go into college, that they can do their own laundry, that they can sew on their own button, that they can take on projects, that my boys can help my husband rotate and change the tires. All of these things, because it makes them feel like, no, I have the skills. My 13-year-old and my 11-year-old child, when we got a flat tire, because they had been trained by their dad, got out of the car and literally put a donut on my car. I was actually less help to them than they were to me, because I have not regularly had to do that. I didn't just walk through that with my husband, but my kids who had trained with my husband knew exactly what to do. They did way better than mom on it, which is humbling. I need to go figure out how to work all of those. But then at the same time, I was so proud of my boys, and they had amazing confidence that, like, mom got a flat tire and we were able to go out there and change it. Now, obviously, we were pulled into our parking lot. I was out there before anyone's like, oh my goodness, she's making her kids, like, change tires on the side of the road. No, We had gotten safely pulled into a parking lot, and we were able to watch these two boys go to work, know exactly what to do. They knew what was going on. They knew what to look for. They knew how to get the tire down because they had run through these skills with my husband. And you should have seen how excited and like just happy that my kids were that they were able to do this, and how proud their dad was, and just seeing the exchange. It was awesome. And just anytime they accomplish a skill around the house, at like how they're growing up and they're able to do these things, and it is wonderful to see. So mamas, when you start having that mom guilt about, I'm making them help around the house, they have to help me, and now I feel like I'm not doing it all, and I'm not keeping up with all the other women on the internet because they're doing everything and their kids don't have to do anything, don't buy it. Some of them are not showing their entire lives, and chores are actually good for kids. Them learning those skills now in your home, even though it might not get done exactly the way you want it done, give them the chance to work on those skills. It builds their confidence, it builds their skills, it gives them the opportunity to show you that they can also grow up. So it's wonderful, it's lovely. The growing up part hurts mom hearts, but that's okay because we are growing. So with that being said, the other thing that I want to kind of hit on, and this will be a brief one because it's more about a general home thing rather than just specifically homeschool. And that is setting a godly standard for your home. And what I mean by that is that start talking to your kids about what and how you should filter things. So one of the things that we do is we talk about entertainment. We talk about like, hey, what is this trying to perceive, and what messaging is this giving you? Is it biblical? Is it not? Remember that all of the advertisements, they're trying to sell you something, walking through those things. Answers in Genesis has a really good show. As soon as I figure out what it's called, because my kids have been watching it, I'll link it down below. They do a movie review, and they talk about like the concepts that are being showed through the movies. If you have not subscribed to Answers in Genesis TV, I don't know where else you can find it. Maybe you can find it on YouTube, but I will put a link below to what it's called. And they walk through things like the Barbie movie, the Guardians of the Galaxy, all of these things to try to show you like, hey, what are you putting behind and before your eyes? What messaging are they trying to send you? By doing this, you are making children critically think about what they are consuming. As a godly homeschool mama, I want my kids to know what they are consuming and to filter and discern what will be good for them. The Bible talks about how everything's permissible, but not everything's beneficial, right? This was, I believe, in the Corinthian letter, and he was saying like, yes, maybe some of these things are permissible, but are they actually benefiting you? And starting to teach your kids like, what are good habits? Like sitting down and playing video games for 13 hours is probably not fostering good habits, but getting outside and exercising your body is. Staying up super late and then trying to get up super early is not a good habit. Maybe you should try getting yourself to bed earlier. Setting standards for your home to where you can start helping them implement wisdom and understanding, and helping them get to the place where they are seeking to honor God with their finances, their mind, their hearts, their nutrition, their health. All of those things, their friendships, how they treat mom and dad, how they treat their siblings, how they handle their chores. Upping that standard and raising the standard for like, listen, in our house, we serve the Lord. It reminded me of in the book of Joshua, and Joshua standing in front of the people, and he says, I'm gonna actually pull it up. It says, if serving the Lord seems undesirable to you, then choose for yourself this day whom you will serve. Whether the God of your ancestors served beyond the Euphrates, or the God of the Amorites in whose land you are living. But as for me and my house, we'll serve the Lord. And setting that standard like, hey, as Christians, this is what we're called to. Hey, when we debate someone, we do it with respect and honor, knowing that they are also created in the image of God. And because of that, we are going to choose to treat everyone with dignity and respect, whether they do so to us or not. Setting that godly standard of how we should engage with people, on how we should treat people, on how we should live, how we should treat our bodies, what we should eat. All of these things filter in to the way that we are handling. And homeschool is really all about whole person, whole child education. It would be pointless for me to just homeschool my kids in math, in science, in history, in social studies, in language, to find out that they've had poor body stewardship. They don't know how to take care of their own bodies. They don't know how to steward their finances. They don't know how to have good interpersonal communication. They don't know how to speak to people. They don't know how to debate in a way or talk to people in a way where they can share their faith and what God tells them to. If they don't know how to use their Bibles, if they don't know how to rightly divide the word of truth, if they haven't studied God's word to show themselves approved, that would be a fail in my homeschool. If the only thing I focused on was just the core and I didn't hit the other things that will be lifelong companions with them for the rest of their lives. Now, I do not say this to overwhelm you, and I want you to prayerfully implement everything that you do, because to everyone is in a different season. And the Lord can get you to the season and where you need to be if you're prayerful about it. God will give wisdom to everyone who asks. That's James 1:5. And I hope that you guys understand that when I give a recommendation and when I say something, pray about it. Ultimately, your walk with the Lord is personal. And I do this because I want to encourage you and I want to help you to strive to be the best homeschool mom that you possibly can be, and to homeschool our children in a way that produces a godly next generation. So with that being said, I'm going to sign off, and all right, well, God bless and have a great day.